As I work on the business plan to start my own coffee business, a big question is, why start a coffee cart, not a coffee shop, or a coffee trailer for that matter? Having a coffee shop is definitely a dream of mine. As someone who's frequented third wave shops almost every day for like the last 10 years, I immensely appreciate the brick and mortar shops that offer beautiful spaces to foster community, craft, and inspiration. So why not just start a coffee shop now if I'm so interested in starting a coffee business? In other words, what are the advantages of starting a coffee cart over a coffee shop? Number one would be startup costs. Opening a coffee shop could cost anywhere between $100,000 to, well, $1 million. There could be ways to do it under $100,000, but I personally don't have the resources or connections that, might make that a path that's possible. Whereas a coffee cart is really only going to cost somewhere between 8 to 15,000 and perhaps 20,000 on the high end depending on the equipment you buy. Being able to put together $10,000 or $15,000 is a lot more achievable, especially when you consider trying to do like a Kickstarter campaign. People can get behind something that's smaller like this. Putting it out there to start or trying to find the resources to start something that costs $100,000 is a lot less accessible for a lot of people. And the thing is, a coffee cart offers very similar quality and just product offerings that a coffee shop does, or at least it can. The second advantage of starting a coffee cart over a coffee shop would be your current skill set. So for me personally, even though I've worked food and beverage jobs in the past, I haven't actually been a barista before. It's up to me to train and rise up to the level of being a very good barista. I think that starting something without experience is fine, especially if you have a strong urge to do it. And personally, I believe that you can learn as you go. However, that does lead me to wanting to sort of try it out first by having a cart. Having a cart allows me to, use the equipment at home where I can freely experiment without the added pressure from customers, or being locked into working hours at a local shop. And I know I'll have to face that kind of pressure someday, and I'm okay with that. But I love the idea of being able to spend most of my time training in a very forgiving environment. Plus, you get to have amazing espresso at home. The third advantage of starting a coffee cart over a coffee shop is flexibility. With a coffee shop, I would be stuck there. For reference, I'm coming from a lifestyle of working an 8 to 5 desk job for like the last 10 years, meaning I'm in a season of not wanting to be stuck anywhere right now, not even in a coffee shop. The thing that stands out to me about having a coffee cart is the change of scenery that you get. Another point regarding flexibility is the prospect of having short stints of service instead of being stuck behind a counter all day. I have a family with young kids and I need to be home with them as much as possible for a while still. But hey, someday I can absolutely imagine myself working or like owning and running a cute little coffee shop somewhere. The fourth reason is customizability. With a cart, you can personalize the experience to match whatever event you're hosting or you're at, which I think is a huge advantage. Meaning you can put someone else's logo on the cart and kind of pretend you're with the company that's actually your client. That gives the businesses a little extra incentive to use you because it makes them look good to appear that they're serving this premium thing to their employees. And it's really cool because you can make your cart setup look and feel like whatever you want. You can really brand the business yourself, just like you would brand your own coffee shop. You get to be in control of that, and you can still make whatever you want to make. You can make an incredibly, chic looking thing, or like a rustic, whatever. It could be modern, industrial, whatever you want to do. You have the freedom to customize the cart to choose what kind of cart and equipment that suits whatever you're looking to do. So there's just a very high level of customizability with a coffee cart, just like there really is with a coffee shop. The fifth advantage of having a coffee cart over a coffee shop is that you already have a cart. Starting a cart is great because then you already have it. You already have the cart if you ever want to do something else. Meaning coffee shops and trailers may want to add a cart to be more versatile in offering additional services or being able to access other events that they normally couldn't, but they've already invested heavily into what they have. So it might be harder for them to then build something like that in addition. Starting with the cart gives you the most versatile option possible first, and it costs the least to do so. That way, when you finally open a shop or build a trailer, you already have your cart ready for everything else. So what are some disadvantages of starting a cart first? Well, for one thing, there's no built-in customer seating. Not everybody wants coffee to go, so you might have to try setting up somewhere that has existing seating. It might be easy sometimes, it might not exist sometimes. I'd say it's harder to connect with a loyal customer base. I think this is a big one. Customers really can only follow you around when you're, having a public service. And even then, they're going to have to pay attention to, your schedule and what you're up to. Whereas a coffee shop, they always know where you are. And then plus all the times that you cater, it's a different private crowd. So I think it's a lot harder to kind of build, just that loyalty. They're not going to see you as often if all you do is go to office buildings, once every 6 months. Another disadvantage is that you'll have to transport everything every time. So you'll have to make sure that whatever you drive can accommodate the equipment. Most vehicles can handle the size of equipment of a coffee cart if it breaks down. But still, if you have a car with a trunk, like a sedan or something, you may not be able to fit everything. So you might have to get an SUV. Also, there's nowhere to hide. I mean that you can't hide behind your branding or the space, in the beauty or whatever of a physical shop. You're out there on display for everyone, even people who don't want coffee. Meaning you have to actually watch people walk by you and not order something if, they're not interested. Whereas in a shop, maybe they just wouldn't come in. So I think that you do probably deal with a lot more rejection in having a cart over a shop. And if you do it wrong at the start, you might have to invest more into it. Meaning if you start to book high volume events a lot, but you bought, budget equipment, you might need additional or better equipment or personnel that you technically can't afford yet. But honestly, that would be a great problem to have. All right, so what about a coffee trailer? Well, the benefit of having a coffee cart over a mobile coffee trailer or a coffee truck, kind of like a food truck, is that with a coffee cart, you can go inside buildings. You can take the elevator up or down and set up on any floor of a venue. And you can make your business weatherproof. A coffee cart can serve drinks all winter long, rain or shine, whereas a trailer requires people to go outside in the elements. So there's that. And then also again, cost. At the end of the day, a trailer build out is going to cost more than buying the initial things for a coffee cart. I think even on the high end of a cart, a trailer is going to cost more if you have to build it out and you don't have the skills. Now, if you have all of the skills required to build out a trailer, that's a different story. But if you're coming in not really knowing what to do, a cart is very accessible to be able to do that, especially parts that are available online that exist and are just ready to go turnkey carts. Another thing to consider is parking. Pulling a trailer and parking it can be a real hassle. Take it from someone who's RV'd full time in a 40-foot fifth wheel. It's a pain. A coffee cart can, depending on what you get, easily break down and fit into almost any vehicle. So, what are your thoughts on this? I'm sure there's a lot more to share regarding this topic, so please let me know in the comments what I missed, and I'll be sure to address it in another video. All right, talk to you soon.